Good are you? So, I have to ask you, does anybody feel like their life is a bit chaotic in spring right this second? Like, I feel like we've hit this 1 year mark of the COVID craziness and like we don't know what to do with ourselves or something. I know in our world it's just chaos. There's just nothing short of chaos. So I have my beautiful studio that I love in my garage, and you can hear all the nature outside because I got garage doors open. But like, if you look at my garage, you would think, how in the world does she use that for a studio? Me, misorganization, right? How do I use that for a studio? And it's just because also that's where I'm starting my seedlings. So I've got a whole bunch of seed pods started in my garage. It's my garage, right? But also my husband's building beds on the side of the house. So all of the dirt. Good morning, Dawn. It's so good to see comments in here. I'm so glad to see you. I feel like the last 2 weeks it's just been crazy with the comments. But so my husband's building plots on the side of our yard with rubber troughs, and so that's in the garage, right? And then of course we have Callie getting married, and we joked about the guest room being her second room because like that's compiling all kinds of wedding stuff and wedding gifts, but also packing in all of her art supplies. Let me tell you, art supplies are everywhere in abundance and plain overhead. And in addition to that, it's just invading my space, and I'm like, oh, I can't take it. So, in second to that, let me also say thank you that yesterday you were also patient that I had to cancel. It canceled a live that I was anticipating doing yesterday. Last time, I'm going to tell you, I'm just a big baby about the dentist. It is the one area I can work on all techniques for anxiety control and what have you. And the minute I'm sitting in, nothing works. And I'm sure some of you have those spots as well. But I also want to be open and honest, like, right? To not be in this place where I've got my act together. What's wrong with you? Oh, no, no, no. I assure you, right? We are all, there's not one person in this world who is not a work in progress. I just know the work to do. That doesn't mean that I'm 100% applying it. So do some clap hands if you agree with that about me and about you, right? Okay, so I wanted to dig in today. I want to remind everybody we've got a freebie coming up tomorrow. But to get the freebie, you need to let me know you're here. So either say hi if you're watching live, hashtag replay if you're watching this in replay, and that's how you get the freebie. What is the freebie? I'm going to tell you tomorrow. It'll be exciting. It's going to be great, and it's all fully in relation to habits, fully in relation to habits, and for you personally. So again, thank you for understanding for yesterday. I was miserable yesterday. I am feeling more composed today, a little less soreness, and I'm working through it. That's what we'll say. I'm working through it. We're going to go with that. Okay. So, habits to nurture. That's what we're really here to talk about. Habits to nurture. So, numerous years ago, decades ago, let's be real, decades ago, just two, but decades ago nonetheless, my friend was having her first baby. And I currently had two children, and was pregnant with my third. There's about 4 months between these two babies. And she asked, what's the one piece of advice I had for her? I had to think about that, right? Because, we hear, don't wake a sleeping baby. What's it called? If the baby's crying, feed him. I mean, we can hear all these things. I had to think about what was that one perfect piece of advice that I wanted to share with her. And I told her, do not start a habit that you do not want to continue forever. Okay, for example, like patting a baby's back to get him to sleep every night. You don't want to be doing that when they're 8, 9, 10 years old just to get them to go to sleep. Breaking it when they're 3 years old. That doesn't mean don't ever do it, but don't let that be the only way they can fall asleep, right? That's detrimental. It's creating a habit that is hindering to actually being a successful in life. So, with that in mind, okay, um, what's it called? Thinking about that, right? This is applicable, not just as a new mom, but in everyday lives, right? You don't want to start something that you are going to have to do every day. Okay, you don't want to start something you don't want to be doing constantly. Well, negating habits, that's tomorrow. I'm just giving you a little brief into why are we talking about habits. Most of the time people talk about habits and wanting to break them, right? Maybe their smoking habit. Maybe not drinking to the point of alcoholism, but maybe social drinking habits, something they want to break. Biting the nails, that is me. Biting my nails. It's a habit I can conquer, and then I'm right back there again. Something happens, and I'm right back. So we generally talk about habits like, oh, I've got these bad habits. But today I want to talk about good habits because we do have good habits, okay? Throw a one in the comments if you know we have good habits. What are some of the good habits? Um, let's kind of talk about those for a minute. Let's start with some basics like hygiene. Maybe you have good hygiene habits. My son in law and his dental hygiene, which is forefront in my mind right now, right? Him and his dental hygiene, he has amazing dental hygiene habits. Maybe they border on obsessive, but you know, he's got great teeth. What can you do? So he's got great habits. Hydration, right? Staying hydrated, that's a great habit. Maybe having quiet time, prayer and study time, like good habit, great habit. Exercise, journaling, right? These are all things that are habits, right? Whether you do them daily, weekly, monthly, there are habits. Even yearly, we can have yearly habits if you take the time. Say you take the time once a year to evaluate your life and where things going. You know, I'm not talking about resolutions. I'm talking about just a yearly evaluation. What things did I want to do this year, and what did I do or what didn't I do? So those are the types of good habits I'm talking about. Another good habit, right? Annual doctor appointments, great habit. Maybe you do that, maybe you don't. That's a whole nother lesson. But those are good habits. So tell me some of your good habits in the comment. Now, what are some good habits? For me, definitely my quiet time. Definitely a habit, a good habit. Other good habits, well, there are some that I'm trying to get back into being good habits, but other good habits is my bedtime routine. I do the same thing almost every night. Last night I broke it because I was an irritable snot. My husband's day off yesterday, and he had to take care of me. And I just finally at 5:30 was like, I'm going to bed. I just want the day over. I'm going to bed. So normally though, my bedtime habits, I read for 45 minutes to an hour. I put my Kindle down and I go. Kindle I have doesn't have what's that light everybody's concerned about, blue light issues. So I'm good to read and I can go right to sleep afterwards. That's a good habit for me. So what are some of your good habits? That's what I want to know. How do you nurture them? How do you go ahead and get there? What's it called? Do you start the day regardless of lack of sleep? Like, if do you do the same routine every morning, no matter how you woke up, or if you didn't sleep at all? Um, Maybe you can set aside time. Maybe that's how you nurture a habit, is being very specific with setting aside time, or even making a personal appointment on your calendar. I have my calendar is full of appointments, and it's really just appointed times that I want to accomplish something. And so maybe you do that. So, how do you make sure that these habits happen? Like, my husband is big on hydration, huge. So, he has a specific water jug. We replace it every month. And what he does is I mean, it's just a store bought jug. It's not a big, like I have my little water thing here. But he just got a store bought jug. And that's what he drinks every single day, is this jug. I can't tell you how many ounces. It's probably a gallon, but I honestly don't know. But anyhow, he fills it up the night before, or if I see it's empty, I fill it up when I wake up in the wee hours of the morning, throw it in the fridge. So when he wakes up, he immediately starts with the water. He drinks his coffee too. Lord, he needs his coffee. So that's a habit. That's probably addiction. I think there's probably a fine line between habit and addiction. But anyhow, so he drinks his coffee too, but he drinks that water, and he makes sure by lunchtime, by the time he's ready to eat lunch, because we have way different clocks, he makes sure he has drunk half of that container. And that's what he does. And then from lunchtime until the end of the day, he drinks the other half of the container every single day. Okay. That's him nurturing his habit of hydration, why hydration is important. So he's prepared for it, he plans for it, and he's strategic with how he does it. I mean, you guys probably like, well, I want to live life. I don't want to be strategic about everything. I assure you, I live life, right? But I can live life more fully because of stress and preparing and planning. I'm very spontaneous, but I can be because of all these other things that are happening aligned. So for me, like I wake up, that's my first thing in the morning. I wake up and I be sure it's the very first thing I do when I sit at my desk. I don't turn on my computer. I don't check my phone. And when I say it's the first thing, I do take my medication as soon as I wake up. I have thyroid, so I take my thyroid medication the first thing when I wake up, and I start my tea kettle. I take the thyroid medication because, I have to. But the reason I start my tea kettle is because I enjoy my tea with my quiet time. So the tea is going while I'm doing my reading and my studying, and something just flew in my garage. We're just going to ignore it. The tea is going, and so then as soon as it's poured, as soon as it's ready, I pour it, and I'm able to continue my reading and enjoy my tea while I'm doing my writing. So that's I like my tea and my Jesus all at the same time. It's very comforting. So if I start doing something else, my quiet time isn't going to happen. It isn't. If I pick up my phone and answer a text or look at how many messages have come in through the various formats I get messages, my quiet time is not going to happen because I am lost. I am traveling down a whole new road now, and I'm lost. And so my quiet time never takes place. And it's not the same when you're trying to squeeze it in because you missed it. Tell me if you know. Throw a 2 in there if you know that trying to squeeze whatever your habit is, trying to make it happen when it doesn't happen when you normally do it, when you're out of routine, right? It's just not the same, okay? So that's how I nurture my habit. That's how I pour into it, is I just make sure every day is what I do, every single day. And it depends on what it is, it's the time of day, okay? So maybe you have a practice, a habit you want to start. How do you do that, right? How do you nurture it in the early development into a habit, right? Take something, just an action, and develop that into a habit. I'm going to tell you. Okay, well, let's be real. How do you start? You start by doing it once, okay? We can talk about things all day long. You start by doing it once, and then you do it again. You get the second one in, and then you do it a third time. And you just have to be that intentional until it's no longer something you have to think about. You are just doing it anyway. All right. So yes, you have to start it. Maybe it requires some planning like Tom does with the water, right? He plans ahead. He has that water jug full when he wakes up in the morning, whether he does it or whether I do it, it's full when he wakes up in the morning. Like I recognize with my quiet time, right? I have to do that utmost first before everything else. Let's say exercise is a habit you want to start and you don't know where to, therefore you don't, right? Tell me if you know that. Go ahead and put a 3 in the comments. Yes, I know they're hard and I don't know where to start, so I don't start it. Okay, go for a walk. You'll figure it out, but in the meantime, you're exercising, okay? Don't wait until you have the perfect plan. Just start doing something. And along the way, you're going to tweak it and you're going to fix it and you're going to turn it into what you want it to be. It may not be what you're thinking, okay? But you're doing. And that's the key part. You want to start a habit, start doing something. That's how you start a habit. So maybe you want to have a quiet time at the beginning or end of the day. I'm a beginning of the day. Some people want to go to bed. The last thing they do is talk to God. Whichever suits you, right? Just do it. Just start doing it. I can't say it any plainly than that, right? Separate yourself from anything and everything, everyone, okay? And do whatever it is for the first time. It might evolve. Chances are it's going to evolve, okay? That's okay. That's what you're looking for. Maybe you need a special chair to sit in and certain lighting, and that's going to help you do your quiet time, right? But you have to get started and not just keep thinking about it, right? You have to be intentional. So how do you nurture a habit? You make sure it's possible, okay? There are plenty of things I could think I want to do, but they're not really plausible. Like I want to go for a walk in the country every single day. I don't live in the country. That's a problem. I don't live in the country now, but that could be my goal in the future. But get my butt out and start walking now, right? Okay. You got to make sure it's possible. You've got to do it regularly. Often the same time of the day is best, but not always possible. Okay, if you're doing some, if it's a weekly habit, like my Sunday mornings is so quiet. That's when I plan my week ahead. Right, that's my practice. That's my habit. What's it called? And that's what I dig into. That's a weekly one. Right, but the point is, I do it regularly. I do it the same time every single week. I do things the same time every single day. Whatever it is, do it regularly. Okay. That may not always be a possibility. You make a priority to get it done regardless. That's a key. And at some point in time, you don't think about doing it so much because you're just doing it anyway. And that's where you're trying to get with your practices, with your habits, with whatever you'd like to call it. A habit is just the practice of something we do regularly. So, whatever it is that you'd like to call it, okay, you just got to start doing it to make it a habit, to make it regular, to continue. It depends on who you talk to. 21 days to create a habit or to break a habit, 30 days to create a habit, break a habit, whatever. Just keep doing it. Don't worry about the number. Just keep doing it. If you feel like you still have to think about it, it's not a habit yet, okay? You still have to think about it and do it, all right? I promise you, the time will come when you realize you're not thinking about it anymore. You're just doing, okay? And that's when it's a habit. Whether it's 21 days, 30 days, 3 months, whatever it is. Okay. So tomorrow, I really do want to hear some of your good habits. So remember, if you're watching this, okay, say hi. If you're watching this in replay, hashtag replay. Throw out there some of your good habits. I really want to know. Tell me how easy they were to make a habit, how difficult, how challenging it might have been. Go ahead and put all that together in the comments, and I'm going to come back and engage with you because I'm back to human form again. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about negating habits, right? We're going to talk about habits that you are trying to get rid of. And that's our plan for tomorrow. I hope you guys have a fantastic day today. Thank you again for your patience yesterday, for your kindness. A lot of you sent me messages. I appreciate that. I am doing well. I am honest. I'm just a big baby about the dentist. I have 2 more appointments within the month to go and fix all this stuff. And I will not make them during my lives, but yesterday was an urgent appointment that had to be done as quickly as possible, and that was as quick as possible. So I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'm going to talk to you soon. Go and comment and share with me your habits.